is my favorite way to describe quantum leaping because people think that it means that you go to bed in your shitty apartment alone and then you wake up the next day and you're in your dream home with your soulmate. And even though I manifested both of those things, that's not how it happened for me. I didn't have to work for it in the physical sense, but I did have to work for it vibrationally. When I began having these dreams, I knew that it was a parallel timeline because they were happening so often, and I started to feel like I lived in that reality. What I had to do was merge with the version of me who is me now, who already was living in that home with the soulmate. But it's not like I just woke up and I was there. How quantum leaps happen is they happen faster than they would in physical reality. That's why it's a quantum leap. The time it took me to collapse the timelines to being in my shitty apartment alone to actually being married to this guy and living in this house happened extremely fast because I collapsed timelines. What happens when you quantum leap is reality has a lag time. So when you actually do jump to that parallel timeline, what happens is it becomes a possibility for you. The life that other version of you becomes a possibility, but you still have to walk it out in the linear sense. Meaning you are going to then have things that show up in your physical reality once you do the work to quantum leap, which is shifting your vibrational frequency, shifting your thoughts about yourself in your reality, making different choices, letting go of what that version of you would not tolerate, and getting your vibrational frequency to where it reaches a tipping point where you merge with that other version of you. But it does not happen instant. It happens linearly, where your life unfolds much like that version of your life did unfold. So while it happened really fast for me in reality, what happened when I merged with this version of me was I had to go through things that the version of me that was already living in this life had to go through. Meaning I had to make the choices that she made. I had to let go of a relationship. I had to raise my frequency. I had to start believing that love was possible. And that's actually the number one thing I did to jump to this reality was because I was having these dreams, I just started visualizing it when I was out with my dog. And I was inundating my mind with one particular song where I felt like I was already living in the house, I was already with the guy, and I was living this life that I had only seen in my dreams. So my vibration raised because I started to assume on some level that I was already living that life. Belief and assumption are actually the top things you do to quantum leap is you assume that that's already your life. You believe that that's possible for you. You start believing you're in that reality and you have to hold the frequency before reality reflects that back to you. That is the key. Holding the frequency, holding the assumption, and holding the belief, and then things will happen quickly in your physical reality where then you quantum jump and it becomes your life. Much love.